John Miller, a 35-year-old African-American man, was a hard-working mechanic and a devoted family man, living in a quiet suburb of Chicago. One evening, as he was driving home after a long day at work, his car was hit by another driver who ran a red light. The collision left John with severe injuries, including broken ribs, internal bleeding, and a concussion. He was rushed to the nearest hospital, where his wife, Lisa, arrived soon after, distraught and desperate for help. Lisa clung to hope as she saw the medical staff wheel her husband into the emergency room. She prayed that the doctors would act quickly to save John's life. Dr. Richard Smith, a senior physician with decades of experience, was assigned to John's case. When Dr. Smith entered the room, he glanced briefly at John before turning to Lisa. She pleaded with him, "Doctor, please help my husband. He's in so much pain." Dr. Smith responded coldly, "I'll see what I can do," and walked out of the room. Minutes turned into an hour, and Dr. Smith never returned. Lisa grew increasingly anxious as her husband's condition worsened. She approached a nurse to find out what was happening, only to learn that Dr. Smith had decided to transfer John's case to another doctor without providing a reason. Determined to understand what was going on, Lisa confronted Dr. Smith in the hallway. "Why aren't you treating my husband?" she asked, her voice trembling with anger and desperation. Dr. Smith looked at her with indifference and said, "Someone else can handle it," before walking away. Lisa was stunned. She couldn't understand why a doctor would abandon a critically injured patient. It wasn't until later, when she overheard two nurses talking, that she learned the truth. Dr. Smith had a reputation for refusing to treat African American patients. Meanwhile, John's condition continued to deteriorate. Lisa begged the staff to find someone else to help her husband. Finally, a compassionate nurse escalated the case to Dr. Aisha Patel, a younger physician known for her dedication to her patients. Dr. Patel quickly assessed John's condition and realized that he needed immediate surgery to stop the internal bleeding. She rushed him to the operating room, and her swift actions saved his life. However, the delay caused by Dr. Smith's refusal to treat John left him with long-term complications, including reduced mobility. Lisa was relieved that her husband survived, but she couldn't ignore what had happened. She began documenting everything, gathering statements from staff members who had witnessed Dr. Smith's behavior. With the help of a local advocacy group, she filed a formal complaint with the hospital administration. The investigation revealed that Dr. Smith had a history of discriminatory behavior, but his seniority and connections had allowed him to avoid accountability for years. This time, however, the hospital couldn't ignore the evidence. Dr. Smith was placed on administrative leave, and his actions sparked widespread outrage. News outlets picked up the story, and it quickly went viral. John's case became a symbol of the systemic racism that still exists in healthcare. Advocacy groups used it to call for better training for medical professionals and stricter consequences for discriminatory practices. Despite the trauma, John and Lisa focused on recovery. John underwent extensive physical therapy, and Lisa became an advocate for change, sharing their story to raise awareness about the importance of equality in healthcare. Their story inspired others to speak out, creating a movement that demanded accountability and change. Though their lives were forever altered, John and Lisa found solace in knowing that their fight for justice had made a difference ensuring that no one else would have to suffer the way they did.